if this is working. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Alrighty, just making sure that this is all working with our Facebook program. Let's check that out. All good to go. Awesome. So, guys, this is the wonderful Bianca from Plan B Sleep Consulting. We are so lucky to have Bianca on. She is a fabulous midwife who's been practicing midwifery for the last 7 years, and since then has also broadened her scope into sleep consulting. And after having her own 2 little ones and experiencing postnatal depression with both of those due to a lot of sleep deprivation and that sort of thing, she decided to go down the path of sleep consulting so that she can help lots of you women out there to enjoy that first time with their newborns. So welcome, Bianca. We're excited to have you.
Ellie.
You're welcome. So I think to start off with, one of the biggest things that I know I see in practice is lots of mums super confused about what's normal, what's not normal. I'm being told that my baby should be sleeping for, 8 hours at a time, and my friend's baby is doing this and da. What do you suggest to those families? What do you consider as your normal, or do you kind of teach them not to focus on that stuff, or how do you go about it, I guess?
Yeah, so as you said, my background's obviously a midwife, so I've got this kind of understanding that a newborn is a newborn. And I think in the scheme of things, we do tend to forget this, that newborns don't go by a routine. You know, what they might do one day, they're not going to do the next day. So to set them up to have some full routine that we're going to try and go by, to me, it's going to cause angst. It's going to cause postnatal depression eventually. It's going to cause lots of things. And one of my biggest things, as you mentioned, is dealing with postnatal depression. And these women who read all these books and talk to their friends and all this sort of stuff, and it sort of leads you down the path of this severe anxiety. And that is one massive thing that I am trying very hard to reduce and try and get out there. So I guess my biggest thing is to just really, especially in these first few months, try and set them up for a positive sleep, if you want to say.
Yeah, totally. So when you're looking at that, then if we're not going by times that baby's sleeping, for example, what sort of stuff are you looking at, to make sure that we are doing the right stuff and we are getting baby to sleep when they're supposed to be and all that sort of thing? What do you think?
Definitely my biggest thing is looking at tired cues, and you will get a lot of sleep consultants saying this, that they do look at the tired cues. Obviously, there are times that babies, the rough sort of times that they should be awake, and that's like 0 to 3 weeks. We're looking at around about 40 to 60 minutes roughly, and I keep saying roughly because not every baby is going to do this. Every baby is different.
What they've been doing, like some of them have got siblings keeping them up all day or all night.
Exactly. Or had a really shocking night the night before, so their pattern might change the next day. Then you've got sort of 4 to 6 weeks, which is about 60 to 90 minutes, and then 7 to 12 weeks, which is around about 90 minutes. But within all of this, whenever I deal with my clients, I always say to them, yes, these are very rough times, but I want you to look at your baby's tired cues. As I said, every baby is different. So we're going to be looking at these tired cues, and tired cues are things like baby might pull their ear, or they might sort of rub their eyes, or, they might get grizzly, or red eyebrows, or clenching of the fist is a big one. Yawning, obviously, jerking movements, sucking on the hand, frowning or looking worried, staring into the distance. These are all quite big tired cues. There can be sort of smaller ones that parents can miss because, again, as you said, they might have more than one child, so they're not constantly just staring at their child, or, these are all sort of things that we really try and get before it gets to the point where they're screaming hysterically and it's really hard to set them down and wind them down for that sleep.
Yeah. And I think we all get a bit like that when we're overtired anyway. I know.
I do.
Miserable and a bit beside themselves. So
yeah, exactly.
sense that that is the case. And so when you're talking about, really nurturing that newborn phase, what are the other kind of tips that you get your new mums to take away from your sessions when you're dealing with that baby between kind of 0 and 3 months? What are the big things that you want them to take home and really focus on?
My first one is enjoy those newborn cuddles, because they seriously don't last long. I've got 2 boys who now I absolutely, I try and hug them all the time and I get nothing back from them. So they actually rely on me and fall asleep. I absolutely love it. But I think definitely, really enjoy those cuddles and that beautiful time that you've got with them, because as we all know, they don't stay little for long. But my main thing is obviously, establishing a really positive sleep association for these little babies, for when they do get to that 3 to 4 month mark, when we really do start kind of honing in on more of the routine and focusing mainly on that rather than the tired cues. The tired cues kind of go a bit more out the window and we really introduce that time more so. And then pretty much just focusing on I sort of do one main technique called shush pat, which is a very hands-on technique, which all techniques should be quite hands-on with newborn babies, because they don't have that ability to wind down, and sort of, they'll kind of keep going up and up and up and to the point where they're just screaming, which is not nice at all.
No, and it makes everyone anxious when you've got a new baby screaming and they don't know what they want. You don't know how to settle them. It's not a nice.
It's not
to be a part of. So
exactly,
totally. What are some of those positive sleep associations, and what would you consider maybe a more negative sleep association that we want to avoid, I suppose, as best as possible?
So I'd
recommend.
Yeah, so I'd definitely say white noise is a massive thing, and I'm actually laughing because I'm actually listening to, there's a thing called a shusher, which is incredible, and I tell all my clients about it. You can get them from Baby Bunting, and they're quite creepy sounding, because it's seriously just like shh the whole time. And I still, for my 1-year-old, I still have it going in his room, and he absolutely loves it. And on top of that, I've got a white noise machine going. So my biggest tip for positive sleep associations is buy something like that's actually a machine. So it's not your phone or anything like that. Sometimes the frequency on that can actually have a really high pitched noise that babies can hear, and it actually disturbs their sleep. So definitely invest in one of those. That's a fantastic positive sleep association. It also reduces background noise. So if you've got little kids and stuff that are screaming outside the door, you're less likely to wake the baby up, which is always a bonus. And also having baby's room dark from around about 7 weeks. So babies will start to produce melatonin from around about 8 weeks. So before that, by all means, have the light, have the windows open, or keep Bub, in the table room or whatever. But from around about 7 weeks, we like to sort of keep the room really dark to reduce distractions and start to produce that melatonin.
So melatonin, for those who don't know, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Hormone, that is plays a really massive role in our sleep cycles and our sleep-wake cycles. So obviously it's driven by light and dark, and as baby gets to around that 6-week mark, that's when they really start to pay attention to that. And as a lot of you new mums will have noticed, once we get past that 6-week mark, baby really wakes up, and those sleep cycles really kind of kick in a bit more, and they're more aware of that light and dark stuff. So
yeah, definitely. So that sort of brings me on to kind of I'll tell you about the negative sleep associations, and then I can touch on it. So sorry. So positive sleep associations are, things like swaddling. So swaddling your baby to reduce that startle reflex, which is really, really good. Some babies act as though they might not actually like being swaddled because they might try and fight it. That fighting is a lot of the fact that they're actually exhausted, and they're at that point where they're so edgy and angry, they're trying to fight you almost. So I've got a really good technique for a wrap, which I'll show you guys another time.
I was going to say, I think we're going through that as when you join us for our interactive webinar.
I
as
will,
well.
yes, I can do all that. I'll steal a baby from somewhere, a baby that I know.
Yeah.
And
you might have a free one to look after.
I hope so. Well, my sister's having a baby soon, so hopefully I can steal her one. But so we'll get stuck into that, and I can show everyone how to do that to kind of do a bit of a Houdini-proof swaddle. But and babies tend to also put themselves to sleep, so they might sort of start humming or singing or rocking back and forth or hitting their legs against the wall, stuff like that. Like that's stuff that can actually be quite calming for them. So they're really good at yeah, that's it. Yep, exactly. Negative sleep associations, you've got things like mum or dad rocking baby to sleep or bouncing and holding, feeding to sleep with every sleep, holding babies pretty much the whole time.
And I noticed, sorry to cut you off again. I noticed you said all the time. So something that I emphasize to parents in practice, if your baby's unwell or, they're going through a little bit of a sleep regression, sometimes it's not a bad thing to be, rocking baby to sleep if it's the exception rather than the rule. Would that be
100%? And I'm a big believer on teething actually has a massive effect on sleep. There are a lot of studies that have been done that says like teething doesn't affect sleep. And I'm sorry, I will call that BS because I've got a fantastic 1-year-old who sleeps, but he has just been teething and his sleep has just been all over the shop. So I can tell you right now that's not true. But I think it's all about sort of on the off chance that you're rocking them or whatever. That's fine. That's not every time. If they're unwell, by all means, please go pick them up. Yeah. That's exactly right. But, it's those times, and then it kind of falls into the category as well of, dummies and stuff. Like, when is it good to get dummies, like get rid of dummies and stuff like that? Well, up until about 3 months, it's okay. If it's not causing an issue, fine. But apart from that, I'd sort of start, it's very each their own. Every baby's very different with it. So, but again, in our other live seminars and stuff, we can touch more on that as well.
Yeah, totally. And so you mentioned the shush pat technique, and I can see Catherine has just commented that she's shush patting as we speak. So
good on you.
I want you to kind of delve into that a little bit more, though. I know you're a really big fan of it and there's a lot of research around it. So can you explain a little bit more about that?
So shush patting is
self-explanatory.
So exactly. It is pretty much just your shushing and your patting, but it can take up to 20 minutes. So I've had a few girls recently who have sort of said to me, I love this technique, but it hasn't really worked. Like I find the baby's getting quite agitated, and I have to kind of keep explaining that it can take up to 20 minutes to sort of see a bit of like it sort of start to work. So pretty much there's a guy called Harvey Karp. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of him, but he's a pediatrician from America, and honestly, he's incredible. He's got a technique called the 5 S's, and basically he goes into all these different techniques of what to do to help settle a baby. So one of them is swaddling. So obviously we're going to swaddle the baby and to, again, reduce that startle reflex and turn on your calming and all that sort of stuff. We're then going to either turn Bubby on their side, and we're obviously going to hold one hand on their shoulder, so while they're on their side, and we're going to very, very – I'm just trying to get my hand in while I'm
on the right
side. So we're going to really gently just pat them either on the bottom or just on the lower part of their back and just sort of do a really shh.
And it has to be in that rhythm, like it has
to. That's exactly right, that constant rhythm. And after about maybe 10 minutes, you might start to see them sort of do that quieter cry, and it's not so sort of that angry cry that you might have heard beforehand. The more you sort of do it, the more they'll settle. So what we kind of are looking for is once they have settled, we sort of start to really reduce the time that we're patting, so start to halve it. And then as they sort of really start to settle, just really only sort of very lightly tapping, and then we're just holding them. When you see them start to go into that sort of light phase of their sleep, we can roll them over and really hope that they're falling asleep.
They're staying asleep.
That's it. and then you can sort of start to pat from the front if you need to. You can also do it on your shoulder, so it can also be that same motion. Obviously, Bub's over your back and you're just patting their bum and sort of doing it that way.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. That sounds fantastic. Well, I think that just about wraps us up. But guys, please make sure you check out our website. Bianca is going to be doing her full interactive webinar where she gets to kind of answer your questions and go a little bit more in depth about that whole sleep pattern and what we can do to support those brand new bubbies sleeping in those first 3 months. So check that out. Also, make sure to check out our first upcoming webinar with Ginny Fang, where she talks about all of the things we can do to create lots of space and balance for babies.
So excited for that one.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
And make sure if you are at home and you're doing your isolation, you can't get access to a sleep consultant or other health professional to help you navigate this whole time with your little one. Bianca does Skype consultations. Yay!
So she's also got a sale about to come on. So awesome. Up for that one, girl.
In the comments so that you guys can check it out. If you are struggling, and we go right up to around that, I'm going to lie here, 4 to 5 year mark. Where do you start?
Yeah, I go up to, around about 4. Yeah,
cool. So right up to 4 years, if you're struggling with your little one's sleep, feel free to get in touch with Bianca, and I will make sure to put all of the details in the comments below so you can check it out. All right, guys?
Yeah, thanks so much, Alex. And I can't wait to hear from you all.
See you guys. Have a good day.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.